Hello? Who is this?
Look, Captain, I'm sorry to bother you. Yeah, it's me again. We got the governor on our ass now. We need your help on this one. The Griswold murder, cold case from '97. You're the only one left in on this investigation. Of course, I know you're retired, but the case has been reopened. We need you on the case. They want DNA testing on all the suspects. The Griswold family.
Can I make a suggestion? I think we could continue this conversation at a decent hour.
Where are you going at this hour?
I gotta go in on this cold case.
What? I thought you retired.
So did I.
So, George, what do you remember about that night?
That night, detective, what do I remember 25 years ago? I was probably drunk or stoned, and you expect me right off the bat to give you an answer? I don't fucking know who murdered Mahoney. Maybe the butler did it. Do you ever think of that, Dick Tracy?
George, I know it's been a long time, but we brought you in. I brought you in because I felt you would be a straight shooter. No pun intended. Now, in helping us, we found out that you owed this guy, Mahoney, money. In fact, you owed him a lot of money. Because back then you said it was an intruder. So, if it was an intruder, wouldn't you feel good about finally clearing your family name?
The family name's already been cleared, detective. There was no evidence, remember? No fingerprints, no murder weapon. Tell me whose balls are itching to find the killer after a quarter century? And if I remember, it was pretty well decided it was an intruder because that prick Mahoney just happened to be hated by about a dozen people in town. May I add, this prick Mahoney was one of your honorable boys in blue.
He was thrown off the force. He was not one of our own. Look, man, you don't want to give us a DNA sample. You don't even want to take a polygraph test. Don't you think that raises suspicion between you and your siblings? What do you remember about that night? What about your brother?
My brother Eddie, the king of the pussies?
Yeah.
Eddie wouldn't know what to do with a gun, detective. What do you want me to say? Yeah, Eddie did it. So then Gene comes in and says that I did it. Then Eddie's gonna come in and try to put the blame on his kid. His kid was only 6 years old at the time. Are you trying to turn this into a circus? What do you want from me, detective? To my recollection, I wasn't home that night. I was with my girlfriend.
And what was she doing?
What was she doing? She was sitting on my face. Do you like that? We were watching TV. She was sitting on my face. We were eating popcorn. We You were smoking weed and getting high, so now you can go home and fuck your wife.
Wow. For a guy that can't recall what happened that night, you all of a sudden have a knack for remembering all the fine, subtle details. Confess to this crime. Confess to this murder, and I'm sure your lawyer will work you out a plea agreement with the district attorney's office.
You can't be serious. Confess? Oh my God, you're just trying to rev me up, Detective Pig, to get a false confession out of me. I'm out of here, bitch. Have a nice life, Detective.
Detective Romano and Detective Wilson. You mean to tell me you did a thorough search on Joe Mahoney and all you could come up with was disorderly conduct and a couple of DUIs?
That's all that's in his file online.
Joe Mahoney. You used to call him Joe Baloney. He's a chronic liar. Gentlemen, I took this case to get out of the house. Otherwise, the next stop would have been the nut house.
We appreciate it, Captain.
So, just how much of a thorough search did you do?
Everything is on that computer.
So much for computer searches. Show you what a thorough search can find. This was at the bottom of that file cabinet over there. It was like hidden, right? In this file, it opens up a whole new portal as to who Joe Mahoney really was.
We're listening.
Okay, what it is a transcript of his 1990 trial. 7 years before his actual murder. He spent 1 year in prison out of a 10-year sentence for third-degree sexual assault.
Third-degree sexual assault.
Wilson, would you explain to Romano what third-degree sexual assault is?
Captain, what did he do?
I'm working on it, gentlemen. I'm working on it.
I'm glad you agreed to meet me here in the park. I feel like I can speak more freely without my husband or my granddaughter around.
Did your granddaughter know about the murder?
No. No, she's much too young. I'll tell her in time.
So, Miss
Jean? Call me Jean.
Jean.
I expect you to be so handsome. Look, Detective, I think you're wasting your time reopening this case. I don't see a ring on your finger. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, look, Jean. We know your family had nothing to do with it. It's just procedure we have to follow. But I have to ask you, what was your relationship with Joe Mahoney?
My relationship with Joe Mahoney? What do you mean by that? I was married back then, and we were having a party, and everyone had a little too much to drink, especially Joe. He came on to me a little bit that night. Is that why you asked me the question about my relationship with Joe? And by the way, how old do you say I look? Doesn't matter. So there were rumors about me and about Joe. That's all they were, just rumors. Is that why you asked that question?
What were the rumors about?
What do you expect? What do you think? That we were involved romantically. Joe was in love with me, you know.
Sure. You're a very attractive woman. Let me put it this way. How did you find out about the rumors?
Well, back then, I can't believe I'm telling you this. Everybody knows that I love Joe and he loved me. I know he did. Nobody believed that he was in love with me, but I knew. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just seemed to lose interest. He should have never hurt me. He should have never hurt me. I didn't kill Joe. Just leave us alone. Just leave us us alone!
Ran it through the DMV. Kindergarten stuff.
We got Eddie coming over. Let's see what he has to say. What about the sister?
Jean? She's a nut job. She thought Mahoney was in love with her. She could have been the shooter.
Revenge. It's a possibility.
Guys, why are we wasting our time? It's George. He's got to be the one that killed Mahoney. He owed him thousands of dollars. This guy George, his attitude, his arrogance, a killer like that with that much arrogance, I've seen this too many times. You remember Ted Bundy?
What are you talking about? Ted Bundy was a serial killer.
George could be. He used to kill cats when he was a child.
Where do you get this information from?
From the neighborhood. And that's not all we got from the neighborhood. Tell him, Romano.
Well, apparently, Jean was in love with Mahoney, but it was one-sided. Mahoney never did anything with her. Mahoney, you tell him, Wilson.
Mahoney was Eddie's boyfriend.
Eddie's boyfriend? This guy Mahoney's all over the place.
They're married, with kids. I've seen it before. He swings both ways.
Maybe 3 ways.
3 ways.
You know, men, women. What's left, gentlemen? What's left? Mr. Griswold, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. You know, we've been trying to clear your family name of the murder of Joe Mahoney.
Yes, Lieutenant. Is it Captain now? You know, it's good to see you after all these years. Actually, you know, I'm glad this is happening, you know, to clear the family name.
Well, Mr. Griswold, do you mind if I call you Eddie?
Absolutely.
Great. Eddie, I have a couple of questions I gotta ask you. First of all, how come you, your brothers, and your sister refused to give any DNA or do a polygraph?
It's the principle of it all. I can't believe any one of you would suspect us of murdering Joe. We love Joe. Besides, you never found the murder weapon. I think that's a little bit of an oversight by your homicide team.
You might be right there, but yeah, we never found the weapon. God knows where it could be now. But how rude of me. I never even offered you a cup of coffee or a tea or anything. Can I get you anything?
Maybe just a glass of water. I'm kind of dry.
No problem. Be right back.
Thank you. Oh, thanks.
No problem. How old were you when all this happened?
I was 6. I think I remember you coming over to the house, talking to my dad, my Aunt Jean, and my uncle.
Just how much do you remember?
I mean, they tried to keep it from me, but with all the cops around and the newspaper people, I knew what was going on. I knew that Joe Mahoney was murdered. And I knew they said it was some dude who broke into our house. He was out to get him, and he shot Mahoney. They tried to blame it on my family. I know what you guys are like. You gotta find the perpetrator, no matter the cost, even if you get the wrong person. That's what you do. You don't care, you go for it. Well, listen, detective, no one in my family is a murderer. I know what you want from me. Well, forget it. The murderer was someone who wanted my Uncle Joe dead.
Hey, I didn't know Joe Mahoney was your uncle.
That's what I called him. He wasn't my real uncle, that he was like a member of the family.
Member of the family?
He was a buddy of my dad's.
Oh, I see. You must have had a pretty close relationship with your dad for you to call him Uncle Joe.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. Well, my dad and Joe were just buddies. You got that? You know? You think they had something going on? Well, that's bullshit. My dad is not gay. And another thing, Joe Mahoney was a pervert, so whoever killed him maybe had a good reason.
Why do you call him a pervert?
He was a pervert.
What?
Liked to fool around with kids.
You ever fool around with you? It's okay, Ryan. It's okay, Ryan. It's okay. What do you want to tell me, son?
Look, Captain, why don't you check on the people that had an axe to grind with Joe?
Actually, we did that, sir. Turns out that most of them are dead now, and others moved off to other parts of the country and couldn't have been anywhere near Joe Mahoney the night that he was killed.
Look, Captain, why don't you spit out what you want from me or leave? I'm late for an appointment.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't want to keep you, sir. But, one more thing, Mr. Rizzo.
Yes?
I spoke with your son.
What? You spoke to Ryan?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Sometimes children will experience something early in life and they'll bury it. Then years later, out it comes quite vividly.
What did he say?
Joe Mahoney molested your son numerous times when he was 5 and 6 years old. Now, my question is this. Did you know about it? And if you did, what kind of a father would allow a known pedophile anywhere close enough to his son so that the son would call him Uncle Joe?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
You killed Joe Mahoney. We have proof. Your son told us everything.
Yes, I did kill him. I caught him that night with my son, my 6-year-old son with his pants down around his ankles. So I got my gun and I shot him. And I would do it again. I'm not sorry. He deserved to die. Deserved to die. Deserved to die. Joe was my lover. And he destroyed my love for him that night. And worse yet, he destroyed my son. Yes, I killed Joe Mahoney, and I would do it again if I had to. I would do it again.
Well, you are under arrest for the murder of Joseph R. Mahoney.
Put your hands behind your back, sir.
One more thing. What's the 5th commandment?
5th commandment? I'll remember.
You'll have a brand new Bible waiting for you in your cell and plenty of time to refresh your memory.